Today, we live in a world powered by artificial intelligence. It's in our phones, our cars, our hospitals. But here's the truth the world rarely tells you. AI didn't begin in Silicon Valley. It began in silence, in shadow, and in war. One man, a quiet genius, broke Nazi codes and saved millions. Another, across the ocean, gave a name to something the world didn't yet understand. They never met, but together, they changed everything. This is not just a story of technology. It's a story of courage, of questions too dangerous to ask, and answers that came too soon. This is the untold story of Alan Turing and John McCarthy, and how, long before we ever dreamed of it, artificial intelligence was born. Alan Turing was born in 1912 in London. From the very beginning, he was different. While other children played outside, Alan spent hours reading, calculating, imagining. At age 15, he rewrote Einstein's theory of relativity just to explain it to his mother. But behind the brilliance was a boy who felt alone, isolated, misunderstood. Then he met Christopher Morcom, a classmate who changed everything. They shared ideas. They passed notes about physics, logic, the universe. To Alan, it felt like finding a mirror of his mind. But fate had other plans. In 1930, Christopher died. Suddenly, from tuberculosis. Alan was just 17. He never recovered from that loss. Instead, he made a vow to understand the mind, to prove that thought itself could be rebuilt by logic. He began asking a question no one else dared to. Can a machine think? And that was only the beginning. The war ended. Britain celebrated, but not everyone was honored. Not every hero got a medal. Alan Turing was arrested. His crime? He was gay. In 1952, that was illegal in Britain. The same country he had saved now turned its back on him. The punishment? Chemical castration. Forced estrogen injections. They made him sick, weak, depressed. They stripped him of his security clearance. They called him a threat. And 2 years later, he was found dead. Beside his bed, a half-eaten apple laced with cyanide. The official report said suicide, but some believe it was the final blow from a world that never understood him. A man who had saved millions, destroyed by fear and prejudice. While Britain silenced its brightest mind, across the ocean, a new voice was rising. John McCarthy, born in 1927 in Boston, a child of immigrants, restless, brilliant, curious. By age 14, he was teaching himself calculus from textbooks at Caltech. By 27, he earned his PhD at Princeton. But John didn't want to solve old problems. He wanted to invent new ones. In 1955, he wrote 2 words that changed history: artificial intelligence. A year later at Dartmouth College, he brought together a group of scientists. Their mission? To create machines that could think. It was the moment AI was officially born. At Dartmouth, McCarthy didn't just create a term. He launched a revolution. He believed human reasoning could be simulated, mimicked, reconstructed, not just buttons and wires, but true thinking machines. He wasn't alone. Alongside him, Marvin Minsky, Claude Shannon, Yu, and others. They dared to imagine a world where machines could learn, solve problems, and even understand language. In 1958, McCarthy created Lisp, a programming language built for one purpose: artificial intelligence. Then came the labs, MIT, Stanford. McCarthy built them from scratch. He believed AI should serve humanity, not replace it. And he warned, the hardest part of AI is defining what intelligence even means. Alan Turing and John McCarthy never met, but they were connected by the same impossible question. Can machines think? Turing asked it. McCarthy tried to build the answer. One fought with logic, the other with code. One battled in war, the other in labs. Together, their ideas built the bridge between philosophy, mathematics, engineering, and ethics. They weren't just building machines, they were trying to understand what it means to be human. But even visionaries face winter. In the 1970s, the world turned cold. The promises of AI had come too fast, too big, too soon. Computers couldn't reason like humans, couldn't speak, couldn't think. The media called it AI winter. Funding vanished. Labs shut down. Even McCarthy's work faced doubt. The dream was fading. But some ideas don't die, they just wait. Then came a spark. 1997. IBM's Deep Blue defeats world chess champion Garry Kasparov. Not with emotion, not with creativity, with sheer calculation. People were shocked. Machines could now win at the human game. But that wasn't the end. In 2016, something even more stunning. AlphaGo, an AI by Google, defeated the world's greatest Go player. And this time, it didn't just play, it learned, it adapted. It created moves no human had ever seen. AI had crossed the line from math to mystery. Today, AI is everywhere, in our phones, our hospitals, our conversations. It learns, it predicts, it writes. But even now, we don't fully understand it. Turing proved some problems can't be solved, McCarthy warned. Don't define intelligence too narrowly. Now we face their questions. We build the machines, but do we understand ourselves? Their legacy isn't just in code. It's in the courage to ask, what makes us human? Alan Turing was chemically castrated and died alone. John McCarthy retired in silence and passed in 2011. But what they built never died. Their thoughts became code. Their ideas became algorithms. Their dreams became the foundation of our future. And this story, their story, reminds us, the future doesn't belong to those who wait. It belongs to those who dare to ask. Even now, every time we ask a question, every time we teach a machine to learn, we are continuing what they began. Because in the end, to build a better world, we must first be brave enough to ask, what if? History is filled with minds that saw too far, too soon. Galileo, Hypatia, Tesla, and Alan Turing. Genius often walks alone because it sees what others fear, because it dares to ask, what if the world could be different? But vision comes with a price. Turing was punished, not for what he failed to do, but for what he did too well. He saved a nation and was destroyed by it. Innovation has always carried a shadow. It asks us, are we ready to embrace the future without repeating the past? When we talk to AI today, ask it to write, to think, to decide, who are we really talking to? A machine, a reflection, or the ghosts of those who came before? Inside every algorithm, there's a trace of Turing's logic. Inside every language model, a shadow of McCarthy's dream. AI didn't come from nowhere. It was imagined. It was built. It was fought for. And its soul still carries their questions. What is thought? What is learning? What is consciousness? The answers still echo in every line of code. There was a time when machines were silent. They calculated, but they didn't communicate. That changed. Now, machines write poems. They answer questions. They speak in human language. But the question remains, do they understand what they say? Or are they just mirrors, reflecting back our own meaning? Alan Turing predicted this. He proposed the Turing test. If a machine could converse without us realizing it was a machine, would we still say it lacks intelligence? Today, that test has been passed, but the deeper question remains unanswered. What makes understanding real? What happens when a machine must choose who lives and who dies? When an autonomous car swerves to avoid a child, but risks killing its passenger? When a medical AI denies treatment because the data says it's not cost-effective? These aren't future hypotheticals. They're questions we face now. But who programs the answer? Who decides what is right? When machines cannot feel guilt, cannot know mercy? Turing built the logic. McCarthy built the language. But neither could teach a machine morality. That part is still up to us. Once nations raced for bombs, now they race for algorithms. In hidden bunkers and glowing labs, AI has become the next battlefield. Governments train systems to spy, to predict, to kill. It's not science fiction, it's reality. AI drones, surveillance grids, cyber weapons that never sleep, and all built on the foundations of two men who simply wanted to ask, can machines think? Their question has become a weapon. In every breakthrough, in every headline, there's a quiet truth we forget. AI is not a miracle, it's a mirror. It shows us what we value, what we fear, what we don't understand about ourselves. Turing was punished for being different. McCarthy was doubted for thinking too far ahead. But now, their machines are here, and they reflect everything we've given them. So we must ask, are we teaching machines, or are they revealing who we already are? In the early 2000s, AI came back. Not as fiction, not as theory, but as reality. AI could now detect cancer earlier than doctors, predict markets, write poetry, translate languages in real time, and suddenly, the world remembered Turing and whispered McCarthy's name again. The dreams they once sketched on chalkboards now powered cities and hospitals and homes. What was once a thought experiment had become our everyday life. But with progress came blindness. We built faster, smarter, more powerful. But we forgot to pause, to ask, to listen. Turing was erased by shame. McCarthy was buried by silence. And now, we repeat the same mistake. We use AI without understanding it. We celebrate its power without questioning its purpose. The past isn't behind us, it's repeating in silicon. And we must choose. Do we remember where this began, or do we let the code run without conscience? Somewhere today, there is a child building something the world doesn't understand. A quiet thinker, an outcast, an obsessive dreamer. Just like Turing, just like McCarthy. Will we ignore them, mock them, silence them? Or this time, will we listen? Because if history tells us anything, it's that the ones we dismiss today are often the ones who will save us tomorrow. In the end, Alan Turing never lived to see his dream fulfilled. He died alone, brilliant, unseen, unforgiven. John McCarthy saw his vision come alive, but not always understood. They asked questions the world wasn't ready for. They built blueprints no one dared follow. They paid the price. So we could ask more. Can machines think? Can they feel? Can they choose? Maybe the real question was never about machines at all. Maybe it's this. Can we? Can we choose courage over fear? Understanding over judgment, vision over comfort? Turing once said, "We can only see a short distance ahead, but we can see plenty there that needs to be done." Now it's our turn.